Hey team, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to be explaining how to actually utilize repeat loops in your code. So I'm going to open up my software. I'm just going to call it loops, make sure it's word blocks create. Now you already know what the blocks actually look like, but now I'm going to explain how we can actually utilize it in our code. Right? So what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to set my code up, right? First three blocks you ever use. Set your movement motor, set your speed, and then a wait block. Now, let's just say we were trying to do that square box challenge, right? Where you program your robot to move perfectly around a square box doing perfect 90-degree turns, right? So when you started out, you probably had a code very similar to this. So rotations, let's just say it's 4 rotations. Every time you stop moving, you put a brake and then wait a second to let your robot wait. And then I could do my 90-degree turn. And again, stop and wait. So what most likely you are probably doing when you're doing the square box challenge before loops is you would, move forward and then turn, and then you could right click and duplicate to make another turn, right? So that's going down the first straightaway and turn. This is the second in turn, third, and fourth, right? But that is a pretty lengthy code for really not a whole lot going on, right? So by utilizing loops, we are going to be able to shorten up our code and hopefully make our lives a little bit easier, right? So instead of doing all that, I'll take off this part. We could stick this part of our code into a loop. So if you go to control, right, the two that we're going to focus on, the two blocks right now we're going to focus on, are either repeat for a certain number of times and repeat forever. Now, if repeat forever, if I put this inside, so once I hit go, it's going to set my movement motors, set my speed, and wait a second, and then forever, it's going to move forward 4 rotations, stop, wait, and then turn to the left for a 90-degree turn, stop and wait, and then go back to the top and move forward again. So it is going to perfectly go around that box forever. I might have to dial in the turns and how far I'm moving forward, but it is going to go around the square forever. And you certainly could, dial in a little bit more, play with the speeds, play with the rotations, play with the turns, but in general, this should complete that challenge. Right now, if I were to duplicate this, and instead of have forever, I put it in my repeat loop, repeat for 10 loop, what now is going to happen is if I ran this program instead, I'd be setting my motor, setting my speed, waiting, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing going around a square, but now I'm going to be doing it for 10 times. Now a square has, 4 sides, so I would put that to 4. So it's going to go forward, stop, wait, turn left 90 degrees, stop and wait for 4 times until it goes all the way around the square. Now the but what you have to keep in mind when you're utilizing loops, it is repeating your exact same code for however many times you tell it to. Forever, for, in this case 4, or until a condition is met. It's only repeating what is inside the loop. So what would not be a bad idea is to make sure your code works without the loop and then go ahead and loop that code, because if you're off by, a centimeter or an inch, every time you repeat it, it's going to be compounded, that error. So say you're off by, a centimeter for now. If you're doing it 4 times, you could be off by as many as 4 centimeters at the end of the challenge. So you really have to dial it in to get it correct once before you can go ahead and loop it for however many times. Right? So you got to keep that in mind. Right? Hope that helps. Good luck.